What's up, everybody? It's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show your 24-hour day. I'm your host, Brendan Abbin, flying solo tonight for tonight's show. Man, I'm excited, y'all. I'm still excited. I still have the whole new year glow and everything going. I'm excited for a lot of things to come in this new year of 2018, man. This show, everything's gonna have a whole revamping. Everything's gonna be different. That's why the podcast hasn't been coming out as often as it regularly would, because a lot of things are changing with the podcast. There's going to be a lot of different changes, a lot of things changing. I mean, my living situation has changed and everything like that. So a lot of different things are going to change with this podcast, even the name, the whole logo, the whole nine. So the format of it and everything's going to change up. So you're going to see the slow transition into that happening. So, it's going to be a thing where hopefully I'm going to try and get the podcast going as much as possible and everything like that. Get as many episodes out to everybody. So, but I just wanted to start the show off with that because I haven't been on it since I believe it's since last week or earlier. Yeah, earlier last week. So just wanted to give everybody an update on that, so everybody knew what was going on and why the show seems to be coming on at a lesser frequency and everything like that. But yeah, but before I jump into the rest of the show and everything like that, this is going to be a short show in and of itself just because there's so much going on. So before I jump into the rest of the show, remember you all follow and subscribe to the KBR Sports Podcast. We're going on Rabble TV, Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud. That way you'll be email notified whenever the KBR Sports Podcast is streaming live or whenever a new episode of the podcast is posted. Also, don't forget to follow the KBR Sports Twitter page at KBR_sports, where the live links and show topics will be tweeted prior to every single show. And also don't forget to comment, like, share the KBR Sports Podcast, so in order to show your support for the podcast and to give your feedback, so that then your feedback can be read on the next show upcoming. Just like some other people had some comments of last week, some commented on prior episodes, where one YouTube user commented on the segment about Lavar Ball and if he can run his own NBA league, or he can run his own basketball league, in which this user was cited saying that it'd be better off than the current collegiate system because of the scholarship system and how it's a ripoff for these players and everything like that. And see, that's the thing. We want to hear you all's opinion. So make sure you comment, you like, you share, and you subscribe, the whole nine. So that way you can get the full KBR Sports Podcast treatment, the whole full effect. All right, y'all. So today, like I said earlier, well, first off, let me kick it off by saying, man, y'all, there's been a lot going on in my life recently, man. I just relocated to Florida, so, everything's going to be different. A lot of things, the whole market I'm in is different, the whole nine. So I'm excited. It's a brand new start, new opportunity in life and everything like that. So for all of you that have been following the podcast, still appreciate all of you who've been following, especially since day one. Y'all are like literally the true day ones, because eventually, as the podcast keeps going, you hope it grows in popularity and everything like that. And you hope through your viewers and word of mouth and other people and promotion and social media, you gain more of a following. But you always have those day ones, the people that always listen to you from the jump. And I want to develop a relationship with y'all. That's why I always tell you to comment, like, share, and everything like that, so I can read your comments and that we start to develop a personal relationship with you and the show, because then you personally feel like all the sayings, all the inners and outs of the show. Like when I say this is the best sports talk show your 24-hour day, you all know that's how I start off every single show. That the little things that me and Nigel would do during the show, that is just our our kooky little things. So I appreciate all of you who've been listening for X amount of time and everything like that. So now that I'm done with my emotional spat and everything like that, since I had to get all that in, since the show's going to start being revamped and everything like that, let me jump into talking about, this is going to be my lone topic of the night, actually. I'm going to be talking about Lavar Ball, man. And Lavar. It just seems like at this point, Lavar always has something going on. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. At this point, it seems like Lavar is always in the news, but it's not actually for the Big Baller brand, which he actually is trying to promote. Lavar mainly seems to get put in the news because he talks about other things in correlation to it's always because he's doing something with his sons, not more so because of the brand, but more so with stuff with his sons. And in the most recent news that Lavar Ball has been in, it's been, you hear things, well, the biggest thing that's going on in the news right now is his comments in regards to Los Angeles Lakers head coach Luke Walton, in which, according to ESPN's Jeff Goodman, Lavar is cited saying, you can see that they're not playing for Luke no more. Luke doesn't have control of the team no more. They don't want to play for him. That's a good team. Nobody wants to play for him. I can see it. No high fives when they come out of the game. People don't know why they're in the game. He's too young. He ain't connecting with them anymore. You can look at every player. He's not connecting with one player. So these are strong comments for LaVar Ball to come out and say, because one reason why it's such a huge deal that LaVar Ball is coming out saying these comments, because his son is the point guard of the Los Angeles Lakers, arguably one of the if not the most important position on the court. Your son is the one that everybody's going to assume is feeding you this source of information that players don't want to play for Luke anymore, that he's losing the locker room, that guys aren't really staying as connected with Luke anymore because of what you're saying. So as a result of what LaVar is saying, it could come off as maybe this is coming from Lonzo, and this could either be how Lonzo feels, or this could be how the rest of the locker room feels, but nobody is just trying to say it. But Lonzo is taking this personal information and translating it to LaVar. Now that can't be fact, that can't be proven, quoted, fact, or whatever. But the thing is, if this puts, and this is why I titled the overall general question of this top segment, is LaVar Ball stepping out of his lane? And in my opinion, I would say yes. As a father and everything like that, I think this is far out of LaVar Ball's lane. The funny thing is, the Lakers knew what they were getting when they drafted Lonzo. A lot of people were saying that prior to the draft, that drafting him, you get his kooky father along with him. So it's not like it's something that's a surprise. Like, everybody knew that when you draft Lonzo Ball, you're probably going to be getting the LaVar Ball mouth along with Lonzo. And it was one of those things that the Lakers were willing to accept, because part of the reason why Lonzo Ball has so much stardom around him and why he was such a big deal coming out of UCLA is because of his father's mouth. His father ran his mouth saying, "Oh, he's going to be better than Steph Curry." He already was better than Steph Curry, and he was going to be better than LeBron James. The whole nine. And so everybody wanted to see who this point guard was, who had the amazing vision, that got other people involved, that was a pass first guy, the whole nine, that made his teammates better and everything like that. And everybody wanted to watch this guy, but so far, and a lot of it now has come back to bite him, in the sense that when Lonzo hasn't been exactly tearing the league up in terms of more so his shooting numbers. I mean, right now he's shooting from the field, he's shooting 34.9%. He's shooting under 30% from three, and he's averaging 10 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. So for all around game, Lonzo is playing well, because I mean, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, that's not bad. I mean, he has an all-around game to him. Lonzo is an NBA player. Let's not get it twisted now. For what was advertised, Lonzo has not proven to be that yet, but it is only his rookie year. Now, you give credit to other guys like a Donovan Mitchell, Lauri Markkanen, and all those other young guys that are playing at high levels from the onset. But the reason why Lonzo's bad play gets highlighted so much is because he had all this boosting and all that coming in when he was playing. Now, a lot of the reason why you see when LaVar starts speaking and stuff like this, that it kind of makes the situation a little bit sticky and everything like that. Because one, it draws more attention to Lonzo's play, and it puts him in the news as more so. But it also can create a rift between Lonzo Ball and head coach Luke Walton. I mean, when Lonzo was asked about this, he was quoted saying, "I play for anybody." And then when he went on to say about what his father, if his father had ever said about Luke, his stuff about his father said about Luke Walton, if he had ever said anything personal to his father about Luke Walton, he says that is just his opinion. He has coached me his whole life, so he is definitely going to have a strong opinion about it. That is just what it is. But the problem with what Lonzo says is, it's like, I can't personally have a problem with what Lonzo says, because one, that's his father. So what are you going to do? You're going to force the guy to choose between his father and his head coach? I mean, I think most of us would choose our father in any given situation, in that circumstance. But the problem is now that can start affecting your professional life as a basketball player, because Lonzo has to, at this point, because then Lonzo's teammate Kyle Kuzma comes out and speaks out on behalf of Luke Walton, saying that that's not what LaVar is saying. I'm paraphrasing here, but what LaVar is saying is essentially fallacy, and that the team is still on Luke's side. They still support him. And Kyle Kuzma kind of came out saying he's taking his own little jabs. You got to read the whole. Everybody go listen. I implore you to go listen to the full thing. And he kind of, and metaphorically, I'm saying he was sort of subtweeting at Lonzo, saying that things like, "Oh, we have certain people that like to talk outside this locker room, and they have certain relationships with people in this locker room. But what the biggest thing is that people shouldn't be listening to those outside voices, and that they should just be focusing on what's going on in this locker room." And so when you see now you're forcing a guy like Kyle Kuzma to have to come out and speak on these kind of issues, it puts your teammates in an awkward situation where they're forced to speak on your father, and it kind of can drive a rift amongst team chemistry, because one, they don't know if that came from you as a teammate. You don't know if Lonzo's telling his father this, so his father's going out and telling the media this, and then two, you don't. I mean, your teammates might actually support Luke and everything like that, but your team is just losing, and then your teammates actually feel like you all can get things turned around. They actually feel like Luke is a really good coach, and things just aren't working. But then your father is going off at the mouth, and it brings all this tension, and it brings all this unwanted attention to the locker room where they're getting asked about this, and nobody wants to be asked about these questions, because what every athlete wants is for every question to mainly pertain to the sport of which they play. They want it to be focused in on, hey, you guys are playing, like, let's say you're playing Golden State this tonight. Hey, how are you going to defend Steph Curry? What do you got? What's your guys' game plan to defend the Warriors? Blah, 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 blah. People want to keep it in that frame of mind. They don't want the exterior distractions. They don't want to have to worry about and prepare for being asked questions by the media about Lavar Ball, because you can't answer those questions the way you would answer any other question with full truth. You have to answer those questions tiptoeing in a way, because you know that it's the father of one of your teammates, and because you also know that it could be a divisive matter, because if you come out and you say anything that could go against Luke Walton, it could essentially throw Luke Walton under the bus, and now it could cast the whole Lakers franchise into a light you don't want to be cast under. So it's one of those things that LeVar now, his comments, I don't know if he's doing it consciously or not unconsciously, but at this point his comments are just, they're bringing a firestorm into LA, and that you don't, it's not a firestorm at this point, but it's a storm that's brewing that you just don't want to have as a franchise. But the one thing that LeVar Ball does do that the Lakers really can't complain about is that he brings constant attention to that franchise. It never stops. Like, because LeVar Ball is always talking, the minute that the Lakers franchise starts to, go out the news a little bit, they start to kind of simmer, it all starts to simmer down, then you get, boom, a LeVar Ball quote. Boom, something happens about LeVar Ball in Lithuania, and it makes people want to pay attention to the Lakers every single time. At some point, you start to kind of wonder. You hear people saying, oh man, Magic Johnson needs to do something about this. Magic Johnson needs to get LeVar Ball. Magic Johnson needs to reel him in. But if you're Magic Johnson, you sit back and you're sitting, we're getting viewership. People are watching our games. The people want to watch Lonzo Ball play, because the more his dad talks, the more he stays in mind, and the more the Lakers stay in mind. So people want to watch our games, regardless of our bad record. Now, in terms of LeVar Ball's overall point, he does have a point, because when you look at the talent in the Lakers, you can make the case that they're better than being the second worst team in the Western Conference. Borderline worst team in the Western Conference. So when you see those kind of factors, you can make the case that they should be better than what they are right now. That's without a doubt. But the fact that LeVar is saying these things, and it's not like it's ever being sourced or quoted as from Lonzo, it just leaves a lot of questions in the air. Now, it's funny that so many people, like, it seems like LeVar seems to come down on Luke whenever Lonzo seems to be struggling, or the team isn't performing well, and it's all this, and it's like when people start to come down hard on Lonzo, LeVar seems to use Luke Walton and the way he's coaching the team as the scapegoat, because LeVar made all these hard stance proclamations and all these bold predictions and stuff like that, and now when they don't come to pass, it's like, well, I can't be wrong. It's just Lonzo is that kind of player, but I can't be wrong, so it's Luke's fault. Luke's not coaching him right. Luke's not handling him right. So LeVar ends up scapegoating Luke Walton into being the fall guy, and he puts a lot of pressure on Luke. You look at Lonzo Ball, he is a rookie, and I don't want to use his age as an excuse, like, oh man, he's only 19, like he can't do this and that. But you do, there are some players that develop at different paces and speeds than others. And athleticism has a lot to do with that a lot of the time. And in Lonzo Ball's case, you see that with the 10 points, the 7 rebounds, the 7 assists, he has the all-around game and the potential for the all-around game. Once he fixes his shot, if Lonzo's averaging 10.7 rebounds, 7 assists on 50% shooting and 30 or 35 or 38% shooting from deep, we're not going to complain about it. That's a pretty good stat line. Obviously you want to raise that up, his point output more, and what have you, but you want to raise that up more because of what he was advertised as. But don't get it twisted. If the minute Lonzo starts shooting more efficiently, you're going to get a way better player. You're going to get a way more efficient offense. You're going to get the whole nine. Let's listen to the Lakers numbers with Lonzo on and off the court. Okay, Now, the team's offensive rating when Lonzo is on the court is when he's on the court, it's 104. Now, when he's off the court, it goes up to 105.1. But here's the reason why: because Lonzo is so bad shooting, the team's offense becomes a little bit more limited because sometimes he's a drawback because of his limited shooting capabilities. But here's the other points you got to look at. The team's turnover percentage goes. They're improving the turnover percentage. They go from 17.4 when he's off the court to 15.8 when he's on the court. They turn the ball over less when he's on the court. They get more blocks. They go from 3.8 when he's off the court to 4.1 when he's on the court. So he's making it, for a guy that was advertised as not being a defensive kind of guy, he's making an impact on defense. Then when you look at the main thing he does, which is assists, the team's he also in terms of steals, the team gets more steals when he's on the court. Goes from 7.4 when he's off to 8.8 when he's on. Then you look at assist percentage. He goes from 54% when he's off, then they go to 60.2% when he's on. It's like one of those things that you look at it. The team overall plays well with Lonzo on the court. They play a lot better. Opposing teams, when Lonzo is on the court, here's the biggest thing, especially on defense for y'all. Because remember, Lonzo's a long kind of player, so he can get in a lot of passing lanes, and he can contest a lot of shots, and he causes a lot of problems around the rim. That's why he can get a lot of blocks and rebounds and such. So when you look at it, opposing teams, their offensive rating when Lonzo Ball is off the court is 112.6. When he's on the court, 106.4. That's a big difference, y'all. That's a big difference. I mean, Lonzo Ball, he's a plus across the board. Literally a plus across the board. He's plus in assists, plus in steals, plus in blocks, plus in turnovers, or minus in turnovers, because they average less turnovers when he's on the court. And then he's a plus in points, in scoring for his team and the opposing team. So it's like one of those things that you got to look at it. You got to say Lonzo is making an impact. He's making an impact, even though this is probably the worst version of Lonzo we're going to see. And Lonzo has started shooting better as the season has waned on. In the early part of the season, the man shot around had a historically bad 3-point shooting percentage. And I say historically bad, I mean historically bad. It was down in the bottom 20s, just hovering under 20% or so. But you've seen that with more time, with more experience, just as what happens with many players, with a little bit more experience and more time, they start getting a little better, to get more acclimated into the game and whatnot. And so they start getting more comfortable, to get a better feel for everything. And so when you see these kind of things start to happen, you can only assess that, okay, that at least he's on an upward trajectory. It's not just a downward trajectory where it seems like he's not going to be able to pull himself out the pit. And one of the things you got to acknowledge is that the Lakers are an okay team in terms of talent, but their losing streak that they went on that losing streak, one, because Brook Lopez has been hurt, and that losing streak started. They lost the first 7, or they went 3-17 in the last 20 games, and the first 7 games of that 20 games, Brook Lopez was out for 7 games with an injury. Then in the last few games, or over the last 2 weeks, Lonzo Ball has been out for injury, and they lost every single game that Lonzo Ball was out for injury. Lonzo Ball comes back, they dropped 1 game, and now they've won 2 straight games since Lonzo Ball has been back. I'm telling y'all, man, the dude makes an impact, and it's not shown by his scoring numbers, but he makes an impact. So it's one of those things that I think that Lavar, I think at this point he should simmer it down some, because it's kind of bringing the heat onto this Laker team, and it's going to make the job for his oldest son a lot tougher. And I don't think that's what Lavar's aim is, for his son's job to be tougher at the end of the day. I think that it should be something that if you're going to speak on something that correlates to the big baller brand. Speak on something that correlates to your 2 youngest, maybe, because now that Lonzo's a professional. He's under a professional umbrella of the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA. So it's one of those things that I think at this point Lavar should take a step back and actually respect what he said on draft night, by saying that he was going to respect the fact that Lonzo was now a part of the Los Angeles Lakers organization, and he was going to respect Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka and their wishes. But so far he hasn't appeared to do so. So we'll just have to see how that goes down the line and how that ends up progressing, because I know one thing Lavar Ball knows how to do, and he knows how to talk. And if he couldn't talk, his big baller brand would be nothing. there'll be nothing that for us to really be paying attention with Lonzo for, aside from the fact that he's a second pick, of course. But who was the last time anybody talked about Markelle Fultz, who's the number 1 overall pick, but has only played 4 games this season? When somebody isn't talking about you, you tend to be forgotten. So we'll just have to see if that takes place for the rest of the year. But all right, y'all, that's going to wrap it up for tonight's show. It's been KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day. Remember, you all can follow and subscribe to the KBR Sports podcast. We're going on Rabble TV, Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, and SoundCloud. That way you'll be email notified whenever the podcast is streaming live, like it is right now, and whenever it is posted, which will happen right when this segment ends. And that when it's posted to each of those different mediums, you can go catch it back and play it back and be able to listen to it while you're driving, while you're coming back from work, the whole 9. So make sure you all go subscribe and do that. All right, and also don't forget that you can follow the KBR Sports Twitter page at KBR_Sports for the live links and show topics of Twitter prior to every single show. That way you will be able to keep up to date to all the happenings of KBR Sports. Remember, like I said, the show's being revamped, so you'll see all that happening on the Twitter page as well. And then don't forget, you can also comment, like, and share the KBR Sports podcast. One, just to show your support for the podcast, and so you can get your feedback in for anything you want to talk about on the podcast and give your thoughts and opinions on any segment that may have been discussed by myself or by me and Nigel both on the show. All right, y'all. Hope everybody tonight. Look forward to a lot of the changes that 2018 is going to bring, and hopefully everybody, you're there to ride through the changes with me. All right, everybody. Have a great night.